This will be a very short video, so stick with me, or just enjoy these Hartley and Lane illustration animations I created for the project. One of the best ways to connect with people is through shared experiences. The Hartley and Lane project, a new book project I created, was born from the experiences of my whole life, but specifically my life in and around the St. Lawrence River, the Thousand Islands, and with wooden boats, all things that I love. My work that goes into those boats is also a big part. The truth is, I love the work as much as using the finished boats. I also love history and have weaved real history into this fictional story. I think there are many people out there who share these types of experiences with me and would enjoy reading Hartley and Lane. Listen to the elevator pitch I wrote for the project when the process began months ago. Lane is a young man in the early 1960s following in the footsteps of his uncle. His uncle Hartley owns a wooden boat marina he founded in 1930 on a small island situated on the American side of the St. Lawrence River in the Thousand Islands. The two men love boats, both old and new, but always made out of wood. They also share a secret, occasionally traveling back in time to the year of whatever boat they're in. This only happens when they travel through a certain spot on the river. Join them on their adventures, the adventures of Hartley and Lane. Later, when I wrote the prologue, I ended it with this sentence: I am the portal for the story of Hartley and Lane, one of the greatest unknown things ever to happen on the St. Lawrence River. This prologue, and I'll admit, I often ignore prologues when I read, came about from a suggestion by my wife Tiza. It is important to read it first, as it truly ties the whole story together. Okay, how do you access this project? My Patreon page, Glass Goat, was created to host the Wooden Boat Experience, my series of YouTube videos on boats. Patreon also hosts Hartley and Lane. The Hartley and Lane project has been released on Patreon in a series of chapters, and the first set of chapters. Right now, you can find the prologue and first two chapters of Hartley and Lane on Patreon and read them for free. You don't have to sign up to Patreon, you can just read them. There are several ways that you can access these chapters. Those chapters are pinned to the top of the post feed. They should come up first. Chapters 3 and 4 just posted this morning for members of 3 of the tiers: bilge pumps, props, and rudders. These members are receiving new chapters every 2 weeks as a new part of their membership. The complete first 10 chapter set was also posted today for members of 2 tiers, props and rudders. All of the chapters are also available to buy whether or not you are a member of my Patreon page for a very reasonable amount. You can find a link below to Patreon in the video description. Later, Hartley and Lane will be available on our new website, tizaandscott.com, which is currently being built and is close to being finished. Hartley and Lane will also be on our website store. I have some very interesting plans for Hartley and Lane. Read the first chapters of Hartley and Lane on Patreon. I think you'll find the story interesting and want to read more. As one Patreon member commented yesterday, I'm hooked. I'll continue making the Wooden Boat Experience videos, so check them out as well. Spring isn't far away, but you can get your wooden boat and river fix from Hartley and Lane right now.